Hello friends, welcome back to the Craft Castle. So the other day I posted my Barbie chip bag tutorial, and in the comments I got if I knew how to make a 3D puff design because they are super popular and she wants to know how. And I can tell you the original answer was no. Now, I would not be a good YouTube tutorial teacher if my answer stopped there. So I spent the entire weekend, I'm telling you, I spent many hours trying to figure out how to get this design right here. This is a 3D puff design and it is in Adobe Illustrator. That being said, Adobe Illustrator is a paid subscription. If you've been following along for any amount of time for me, you do know that I don't like paying for subscriptions. I would love to do everything in a free design program like Inkscape. However, the problem that I have is I have been trying to work this design for hours and I cannot seem to figure this out. So I'm calling all those crafters out there. If you use a free design program or know of like a free app or something that's like low cost, please let me know in the comments of this video what app or what it is that you're doing to create 3D puff designs that aren't in Adobe Illustrator, because it is kind of an investment to make when you are dealing with Adobe Illustrator. Okay, so that being said, I'm going to show you how to make a 3D puff design, something that looks like this. I've created two and I'm going to show you how to make one of them today. And of course it's going to be a Halloween themed because it's Halloween soon. So I have this one right here, this one right here. Both of them look a little different and it's just because I used different types of images. Now, before I get into a whole Adobe Illustrator tutorial, please know that I am not a professional. I'm not a pro. I would consider myself a novice when it comes to Adobe Illustrator. I would like to pat myself on the back that I taught myself how to create this puff design, but just know that maybe some of the ways that I go about doing things isn't necessarily the true or correct way of doing things. I mean, let's just take account the fact that I don't even know how to make my own star in Adobe Illustrator. I am going to be using an SVG file that I get off of Creative Fabrica to create this design. So please note that I am no expert, but I do know how to make these, and so that's what I'm going to show you how to do today. So the very first thing you're going to want to do is go over into Creative Fabrica and download this file. If you know how to make your own SVG files, then just upload your own SVG files. I do know how to make my own SVG files, but for this tutorial purposes, I'm just going to try and cut things down and get to the chase really quick. So I am just going to find a file that I find in Creative Fabrica, and I honestly really like the download that I have for this one. So I'm going to use the files for this one. The files that I use for this and the previous one that I've shown you, they are going to be in the description of this video. So if you wanted to create your own design using the same clip arts that I am, just go in the description of this video and you'll be able to click on it and it'll take you right to the stuff that I'm using. Okay, so let's just exit out of these because I don't need them. Okay, and then all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do a new file and I'm gonna do a letter. A lot of these like 3D puff designs are going on to tumblers, so I'm just going to do a letter size to fit on a tumbler, but you can do any size that you want. Okay, and then what you're gonna wanna do is you're gonna find the SVG files of your choice. Okay, like I said, I am going to be using the Spooky Season one that I used before. So I am just gonna upload, since I'm using Adobe AI, I'm gonna use the AI file. So I'm just gonna upload that, and it was big. So in order to resize in Adobe Illustrator, you wanna press Shift on your keyboard, and then you want to just shrink it down. If you don't press Shift, it will distort the image. It won't go proportionately. So you always want to make sure that we just press Shift on a keyboard to resize. Now I want those little elements. So I'm also going to find my file and I'm going to import those elements. Doing the same thing I did before, I'm going to resize these because they don't need to be that big. Okay, working on the very first one that we uploaded, I am going to right click and I'm going to press Ungroup. After that, I'm going to click back in that thing. I'm going to right click and I'm going to press Release Clipping Mask. I don't know what that did. All I know is I need to press that. So then I can click on this orange and I can move it. When I hover back over into this clip art, do you see how this like box pops up? I'm just gonna delete that box. Okay, so taking the back portion right here, I'm gonna use that as my artboard or the background. So I'm just gonna resize this. I'm not gonna press shift on the keyboard. I'm just gonna resize this till it fits into my artboard, because that's what I wanna use for my background. Okay, we are gonna select the backer piece, and all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna right click, arrange it, and I'm gonna send it all the way to the back. I just wanna make sure that it's in the very back. Okay, selecting our the big middle piece that I had, I'm gonna press shift on my keyboard and I'm just gonna resize this. I'm gonna put this in the middle of my print. We're gonna make sure and come over here to align and click down, and I wanna make sure that it's aligned to the artboard because I wanna put it directly in the middle. So I'm just going to go horizontal and then vertical. And so you see how now this is going to be in the center of my artboard, which is perfect. Okay, so working on this right here, zoom in just a little bit. Now the same thing that we did before, I'm gonna right click and I'm gonna ungroup, and then I'm gonna right click again and I'm gonna release clipping masks. Click out of that, just clicking only the square, that colored square. I'm gonna delete it because we don't need it. Now, if I now have clicked out of that, but when I try and just click that star, do you see how it's still kind of grouped? If it's still like that, right click and press release clipping masks again. So now everything is its own piece. So if I go and I click just this star, do you see how I get the star and then the shadow stays behind? So what you want to do is now you want to select, there is a hidden box right here. So let's click that box and just delete it. We don't want it. Is there one more? Yep. We're going to click that and delete it. I don't know what those boxes are for. Okay, so going back over into what I was trying to do, we are going to select both layers of the star. And then we're gonna Command G, which is group. And you're gonna do that for every single element. So for these black bats and stuff, I don't need to do a Command G. I don't need to group because there is nothing to group because there's no shadow. So anything that has a shadow is what we are going to group. Okay, so these circles right here, I'm not going to use them in my design, but essentially what they're here for is to color match. So let's say we are going to select these 3 stars right here, and we're going to Command C and V, which is copy and paste. I'm going to select these, bring them up. Now, do you see how we have pink, orange, yellow, and white, but we also have this like purple color, right? So because these are grouped and there's a black background, we're going to Command Shift and G, which is ungroup, and we're going to make sure that we ungroup everything. See how now you can ungroup everything. And what I want to do is I only want to select the white stars. I'm going to come over here into this dropper tool. I'm going to hover over the purple. See how now those stars are now purple? So if we come over here into our arrow and click out, do you see how now we have purple stars? And then if we zoom in, we still have that black background. So what you want to do is now reselect those stars, Command G, which is group. And you could recolor all of these to whatever you like, but because I don't need them anymore, I'm going to delete them. Okay, so now all you want to do is take your stars, all of your elements that you're wanting to use, and we're just going to put them wherever we would like. Now, when you go to resize these, remember we want to create proportioned clip arts. So you would press shift on your keyboard and you can make these smaller or larger depending on whatever sizing you would like. That being said, if you want to rotate one, if you hover over to the corner of your clip art, do you see how the line is up and down? If we just go over just a little bit, that now straight, what once was a straight arrow is now a curved. Now all you can do is just like rotate this. So we can rotate this any way that we want. Okay, so I'm placing the bats in here and I want them to be a little bit behind some flowers. So all I'm gonna do is right click that bat and we're gonna come down here into arrange, and you can ascend this backwards. You can also go into arrange right here and send it backwards, and we just want to put this back just a little bit, or I can just bring that up and arrange this front. Awesome. Okay, and then just keep on moving. Okay, we have a lot going on. Let me zoom in. Do you see how we have a lot going on? Okay, so here's the deal. We can stop right here and we can go into the 3D portion of this. However, I want to only have everything that is inside of my artboard. If you were to save it like this, you would have like a weird image that has like a whole bunch of stuff on the outside and it doesn't end up looking really good. Now, I am sure there's an easier way to do this. And like I said before, I am no Adobe Illustrator professional, so I don't know the easier way. All I do know is how I taught myself. So I'm gonna click this eraser tool, and all I'm gonna do is just take my eraser tool and I'm gonna go all the way down the edge of my page. And then I'm also gonna go on the bottom of it, doing the same thing as I did before. We're just gonna go all the way up and going all the way to the top. Okay, so do you see how I have a nice clean like eraser border, and everything that's gonna be inside my artboard is gonna be like a nice clean line. Now what you wanna do is click this arrow that's filled in, and you just wanna select the nodes that are gonna be on the outside of your artboard. So you see how things that are clicked that are on the outside is all highlighted? We wanna just press delete. So you are deleting nodes that we don't want, which is gonna be the stuff that's on the outside. Okay, so now what you wanna do is you wanna select everything, right click and press group. Now what you wanna do is go over into Effect, 3D Material, and we wanna press Inflate. My 3D thing is already right here because I've been using it, but if it's not up there, you go into Effect, 3D, and then Inflate. Now, this little thing right here is going to do its inflating job. Sometimes it takes a really long time because I'm on a laptop that doesn't have a whole lot of memory on it. It does seem to take a little bit longer, but that just depends on your computer. Okay, and I have gotten this several times and it is very annoying. So if you are getting this, hopefully you don't get this. Hopefully your computer has enough RAM and we don't have this problem, but for me, I always do. So let me right click and we're gonna ungroup, and I'm gonna take this big portion and I'm just gonna drag this out. For whatever reason, I don't know why, it just likes to not work with the big portion. Again, hopefully your computer has enough RAM. Okay, so just taking the backer portion of this, I'm only gonna select that, the inner portion, what's in the artboard. I'm gonna right click and press group, same thing I did before. And because we've already pressed that inflate button, this like little sidebar should already be popped up for you. And if it's not, you could always go into Effect, 3D and Materials, and then press Inflate. But because I already have it right here, I am gonna press Inflate. It's going to do its magic, hopefully. Okay, when it's done thinking, we can click out of that. And do you see how it looks? Pretty 3D, right? That looks like a 3D. We got some dimension in here. If you wanted to, you could click on the background that we chose, and you can come over here into lighting, and we can always go and like diffuse the lighting a little bit if we wanted to. You can come down here and change like the color intensity, the rotation of things, the height and the way it looks, the softness. You can go ahead and do all the changes that you want. You even can come down here and like move the intensity. See how like, ooh, going down here, it's like super intense, right? So you can change all of that. Now going back over, let's take this right here and we're gonna put this back over into our design, and we are going to, again, do what we did before. We're just gonna line this to a center. It's unfortunate that I have to do this, but at least I have found a workaround that this will help. So now, clicking only the spooky season, I'm gonna go over here into Object and I'm gonna inflate that again. It is going to do its magic, hopefully. Okay, shoo! This is my clear indication that I probably need like a faster, more computer that has more RAM, because woof. Okay, so let's click out of that. Do you see how we have some dimension? If you wanted to, just like we did before, we can select that. We can come over here into lighting and you can change the way that the light hits. And while you do this one right here, for some reason, it'll always do like a weird rendering loading screen. I'm not quite sure why it does that. Maybe it's my computer, I don't know. All I know is we are getting somewhere in a finished product that looks like a 3D design. Okay, there we go. Clicking out of that, I actually really like how this is like a lot, I feel like this is brighter in the way that it looks. Let's bump up the intensity a little bit. Okay, I didn't like the look of it bumping up the intensity, so I'm gonna drop it back down. Okay, so when we click out of that, whenever you have the finished look of what you're looking for, I really, really like the look of this. I love how these flowers right here are very intense looking. So what you wanna do is go over here into File, and we wanna go to Export, and we are going to export as. Now you are going to want to save this as a PNG file. That way that we can save it with a transparent background, and then you don't have to worry about cropping it because it has a white background to it. So PNG, and then let's just rename this. And then I have it saved to my desktop, and we can just press export. Now, the resolution, to save the resolution, the higher resolution, the better. So you always want to save it to the highest DPIs, which I have it set to high. And I'm gonna set it to transparent background. If you wanted it to be a white background, you totally could, but that would defeat the purpose of having a PNG file. So I'm just gonna do a transparent background and press OK. Okay, then all you wanna do is find that file that we created, which it's gonna be over here in my desktop. I'm gonna double click that, and it's gonna pop up. Now what I could do is I can just go ahead and Command P, which is print, and I can print this to my sublimation printer and create my own 3D puff looking tumbler. Or you can do this on like printable HTV. The world is your oyster. Anyways, going back over to my original statement of I am not an Illustrator professional. So you don't necessarily have to be a professional in order to figure things out. Sometimes it takes a long time. I'm sure it would have been a lot easier to ask somebody else to create it for me, but what's the fun in that? Now I know how to create these 3D puff designs, so I can create anything that I want and customize it to the colors that I want or anything like that. I sure hope by watching this video, I inspired you to just experiment a little bit and get outside your comfort zone. And if you don't know how to do something, you learn, and then you have like a new little like tab of knowledge in your brain. All right, y'all, I sure hope I inspired you, and I will see you later.